He had the private jet, the 8-figure contracts, the women who looked like they stepped off magazine covers. One text from her at 2 a.m. "I miss you," and he was on the runway, canceling a board meeting that decided the fate of 4,000 employees. 3 months later, the company was sold for parts, the women were gone, and he was crying in a rented Lamborghini while the bank was about to repossess. All because he felt something. 99% of men will torch their entire empire for one heartbeat of emotion and never understand why it happened. They'll call it love, loyalty, or being human. The top 1%? They call it suicide. 500 years ago, a disgraced diplomat locked in a damp cell wrote the operating manual for power that kings still keep hidden on their nightstands. His name was Niccolo Machiavelli, and he saw through the pretty lies we tell ourselves about feelings clearer than any therapist, coach, or pickup artist will ever dare. While modern men are taught to vomit their emotions like it's strength, Machiavelli knew the brutal truth. The moment you let a feeling steer the ship, you're already sinking. Today, the men you secretly envy, the ones with the power, the options, the unshakable presence, have all internalized the same machinery inside. The difference? They turned the volume knob on emotion all the way down. By the end of this script, you'll know exactly why they stay cold, and how you can become just as untouchable. Most men will never hear this. Stay till the end, and you won't be one of them. Look around you. Every movie, every Netflix series, every Instagram therapist is screaming the same gospel. A real man cries. A real man opens his heart. A real man is vulnerable. They sell you the image of the tattooed bad boy wiping away a single cinematic tear while the girl melts into his arms. They tell you that hiding your feelings is toxic, that the strongest thing you can do is collapse on a podcast couch and sob about your childhood. That's the myth. And it's the most expensive lie ever marketed to men. Go back 2,000 years. Julius Caesar never posted a story captioned "Healing My Inner Child." Genghis Khan didn't pause the conquest of half the planet to journal his abandonment wounds. Rockefeller didn't schedule quarterly cry sessions with his lieutenants. These men built empires that lasted centuries, while keeping their faces carved from stone. Emotions to them weren't sacred. They were leaks in the hull. Fast forward to now. A man vents frustration at work, gives labeled aggressive, demoted. A man admits jealousy in a relationship, gives labeled insecure, dumped for someone emotionally available. Society doesn't just tolerate female tears. It rewards them with comfort, attention, orbiters. Male tears? They trigger disgust, contempt, or laughter. The same culture that begs you to open up will eviscerate you the moment you do. The myth says vulnerability is strength. Reality says vulnerability in men is blood in the water. And the sharks, bosses, women, rivals can smell it from miles away. You've been sold the idea that the path to power runs through your feelings. The men who actually hold power know the path runs straight through the graveyard, where they buried those feelings alive. But what happens when a man dares to feel anyway? Keep watching, because the answer has ended dynasties. Machiavelli dropped the coldest sentence ever written about human nature. It must be understood that men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, covetous. He wasn't being cynical. He was stating observable fact. And the moment you attach an emotion to another human being, you hand them the key to your prison. You built yourself. Emotion makes you predictable. A jealous outburst, a lovesick text, a flash of anger. Each one is a neon sign flashing, "Here's exactly how to manipulate me." Women test for it instinctively. Rivals probe for it deliberately. Bosses fire for it instantly. The second your heartbeat overrides your strategy, you become a puppet with clearly marked strings. Look at evolutionary psychology. Male emotions evolved for short-term survival, not long-term dominance. Rage helped your ancestors scare off one rival in the savannah. Today, that same rage gets you canceled, divorced, or arrested. Mate guarding jealousy kept your woman from the next tribe 50,000 years ago. Today, it turns you into the guy blowing up her phone at 3 a.m. while Chad slides into the D-Miz unbothered. One it is, that obsessive she's the one delusion, is just caveman bonding chemistry hijacking a modern brain It has 4 billion options. Real world. Body count. Johnny Depp, $650 million fortune. Gone, because he couldn't stay cold while Amber played the victim. Elon Musk tweets one emotional paragraph about loneliness in 2018 gives. Stock drops $1 billion overnight. Tiger Woods, caught feelings. Apologized like a broken man gives lost $100 million in endorsements in weeks. Jeff Bezos, one reckless dick pic text driven by infatuation gives. Most expensive divorce in history. Even CEOs get axed for a single angry email. Disney fired James Gunn over decade-old tweets. Activision's Bobby Kotick survived billions in scandals, but almost lost everything the moment he showed visible rage in a meeting. Every single time. The pattern is identical. Emotion gives loss of frame, gives loss of power, gives loss of everything. The harsh reality is simple. Feelings don't make you human in the eyes of power. They make you prey. And prey, everyone can read, predict, and bleed dry. But Machiavelli didn't just diagnose the disease. He wrote the antidote, and it's far darker than you've been told. Chapter 18 of The Prince. One paragraph that made priests burn the book and kings hide it in locked drawers. It is much safer to be feared than loved, if one of the two must be wanting. Machiavelli wasn't advocating random cruelty. He was stating a law of power as immutable as gravity. Love breeds familiarity. Familiarity breeds contempt. Contempt breeds rebellion. Affection makes people feel safe to take from you. Fear makes them terrified to even ask. When you love, you invest. You hope for reciprocity. You become emotionally dependent on their approval. The second they sense that dependency, the power flips. She starts testing you. Employees start slacking. Friends start borrowing without returning. Love is a mortgage on your frame with the other person holding the deed. Controlled coldness, on the other hand, is pure leverage. When your approval is rare, it becomes priceless. When your anger is unpredictable, it becomes apocalyptic. When your presence feels optional, people rearrange their entire lives to keep you in it. Science backs the prince. Dark Triad studies, Mach 4, narcissism. Psychopathy scales consistently show one trait predicts leadership emergence and sexual partner count more than intelligence, looks, or money. Emotional detachment. Men scoring in the top 10% of coldness have 300 to 400% more lifetime partners and are 4 to 6 times more likely to reach executive level. Why? Because detachment signals unbreakable frame. Women's hindbrains translate "he feels nothing" into "he must have infinite options." Men translate it into "I cannot read him, therefore I cannot beat him." The paradox is merciless. The less you care, the more they care. The moment you show you're willing to walk, nobody dares let you. The moment you admit you need them, they start looking for your replacement. Julius Caesar understood. He pardoned enemies publicly, calculated warmth, then executed them the moment they relaxed, calculated fear. Result? No successful assassination plot for 15 years. Only after he started showing affection to the Senate did the knives come out. Modern kings live the same doctrine. Ever wonder why the most desired women orbit men who barely text back? Why employees work 80-hour weeks for a boss who never says "good job"? Why entire industries fear one cold email from Elon? Because those men mastered the ratio. 5% calculated warmth, 95% strategic ice. Love makes you negotiable. Fear makes you inevitable. And the most terrifying part? Once you internalize this, people will beg for your love anyway, knowing they'll never truly have it. That's the final twist of the knife. But how do today's untouchable men weaponize this in real life? You're about to see the receipts. Machiavelli's ink has barely dried for 5 centuries. But his doctrine pulses in the veins of today's untouchables. The men who command boardrooms, octagons, and ballots without a flicker of sweat on their brow. These aren't actors playing roles. They're the proof that coldness isn't a bug. It's the feature. Take Elon Musk, the $250 billion shadow emperor of tech. His ex-wife Justine called their marriage emotionally suffocating code for a man who treats feelings like yesterday's code, debugged and deleted. When Amber Heard ghosted him after their whirlwind, Musk didn't chase or tweet despair. He admitted the pain once, then pivoted to launching rockets and fathering empires with Neuralink exec Shivan Zelis via IVF. No strings, no scenes. Women don't leave men like that. They orbit, begging for a signal he'll never send. His Twitter rants? Calculated chaos, not catharsis. Result: a harem of high IQ admirers and zero leverage lost. Then there's Khabib Nurmagomedov, the undefeated Dagestani wolf, who choked out legends without cracking a smile. After 29-0, including dismantling Conor McGregor in that blood-soaked cage, Khabib didn't roar in triumph or weep for his late father. He walked away, face etched in granite, leaving the world wondering if he even felt the war. Watch his corner work. Tense whispers, zero fist pumps, until the tap-out seals it. Post-fight? He buries the emotion deeper than a ground-and-pound burial. Women flood his DMs not for the vulnerability vlogs, but the unbreakable calm that screams, "I conquer without conquest's hangover." His aura? Pure fear-laced desire opponents shatter, partners submit. And don't get me started on the suited sphinx of the Senate. Vladimir Putin stares down nukes with eyes like Siberian winter, smiling only when the camera demands it, never for the crowd. Xi Jinping's poker face has swallowed provinces without a twitch. Even in the West, Mitch McConnell's turtle-shell stoicism outlasted scandals that would have melted lesser men. They dole out warmth like state secrets. Rare, scripted, revocable. No tears for lost votes, no rage at betrayals. Just the quiet blade of inevitability. Scroll Instagram, and the simps flood your feed. Beta orbiters spilling sob stories for likes. Chasing validation from women who swipe left. Reality? The men with supermodel entourages and Fortune 500 fiefdoms post victory cigars in silence, no captions begging for claps. A 2018 study in evolutionary psychology found women rate Stoic men 40% higher for long-term mating, ignoring chiseled jaws for the guy who works through pain without a whimper. Short-term? 300% more hookups for the detached dark Triad types. Quora threads echo it. Women crave the cold because it signals infinite options. Emotional openness? That's friend-zone fuel per a 2023 Human Nature survey where kindness topped lists, but only after stability. Code for no-drama dominance. These cold kings don't feel less. They weaponize the void. Empires rise on their restraint. Women kneel at their indifference. But here's the razor. One crack in that armor, and it all crumbles. You've seen the ghosts of great men who stick around, because their graves are your warning. Samson, the strongest man who ever lived. Hair never cut. Philistines never touched him for years. One night Delilah whispered, "Tell me where your strength comes from." And instead of laughing in her face, Samson felt something. Trust. Affection. The illusion that love would protect him. He told her. They shaved him in his sleep, gouged out his eyes, paraded him like a circus bear. One feeling erased a lifetime of invincibility. Julius Caesar, master of the known world, crossed the Rubicon, crushed armies, pardoned enemies to show mercy. Then, in 44 BC, he started believing the crowd actually loved him. He dismissed his bodyguards. I'd rather die than live in fear. One moment of emotional vanity, one belief that affection was real, and 23 senators buried their daggers in him on the Senate floor. Empire shattered before his blood hit the marble. Fast, forward. Mike Tyson. $400 million in the bank. Heavyweight terror. Caught feelings for Robin Givens. Married her in a haze. She took half, plus his peace of mind. He ended up bankrupt and biting ears in desperation. Antoine Walker, NBA champion, $108 million earned. Fell madly in love. Showered one woman with cars, houses, jewelry. She drained him dry while sleeping with his teammates. He filed bankruptcy with $4 in his checking account. Everyday graveyards are fuller. You know the guy. Six-figure job. Deadlifts 500. Finally gets the 9 who chose him over her ex. One night she flakes. He feels the stab of jealousy. Sends the 2 a.m. essay text. I just need to know where we stand. She screenshots it, laughs with her friends, and 3 days later, she's on vacation with the ex. 10 years of lifting, earning, and frame building vaporized by 12 paragraphs of emotion. One feeling, one crack in the ice, years of discipline. Status, money, and options gone before the echo fades. That's the trap. It's never the woman, the rival, or the market crash that destroys you. It's the single heartbeat you let escape the vault. One slip, and the empire you bled for becomes ashes in someone else's mouth. But it doesn't have to be your story. The men who rule don't avoid the trap by luck. They follow a deliberate code. Keep watching, because in the next section, I'm handing you the exact 7 disciplines that make you untouchable. You don't become cold by accident. You forge it like steel, deliberate, repetitive, merciless. These are the 7 disciplines the 0.1% actually live by. Miss one, and the mask cracks. The 72-hour emotion rule, any strong feeling. Rage, lust, heartbreak, euphoria. It's exactly 72 hours to exist. You feel it fully in private, then you execute it at the end of the 3rd day. Step: set a timer the moment the emotion spikes. Write the trigger and intensity in a locked note. When the timer hits 0, delete the note, take a cold shower, and act as if the event never happened. Justification: emotions decay exponentially. 72 hours is the average half-life of limbic hijacking. After that, continued feeling is a choice, not chemistry. Kings don't choose weakness. The mirror technique every morning. Stand in front of a mirror, look yourself dead in the eyes, and say out loud, "Your feelings are not facts. They are weather. I am the mountain." 10 times, no emotion in the voice. Justification: neuro-linguistic anchoring. You train the subconscious to separate identity from mood. Caesar did something similar before every battle. Modern Spec Ops units still use mirror work to kill empathy on command. Outcome: detachment practice. Before every interaction that matters. Date: negotiation, confrontation. Write the ideal outcome on paper. Then immediately burn the paper while repeating, "This or something better." Justification: pre-burns the dopamine circuit that chains you to specific results. You still strategize brutally, but you are no longer emotionally married to victory. Women and rivals smell the difference instantly. The silence weapon. When you feel the urge to explain, defend, or react, force a full 10-second pause and answer, only in 5 words or less, or not at all. Justification: silence creates vacuum. People fill vacuums with fear and projection. A single raised eyebrow from a cold man hits harder than a 1,000-word essay from a hot one. Calculated warmth versus genuine feeling. You may display warmth, never feel it uncontrollably. Schedule warmth deposits. A compliment, a touch, a gift, like chess moves, then withdraw twice as hard. Ratio: 1 warmth, 2 absences. Justification: intermittent reinforcement is the strongest behavioral addiction known to science. Genuine feeling destroys the gradient and turns you into a vending machine. The dread arsenal. Maintain 3 active options: women, income streams, social circles that you never talk about. When someone oversteps, subtly remind them those options exist without ever saying it directly. A single photo with another woman on your lock screen when she glances over works better than any argument. Justification: dread is Machiavelli's fear in modern clothing. Options equals freedom. Freedom equals untouchable frame. Weekly emotional purge ritual. Every Sunday night, alone, write every lingering resentment, desire, or attachment on paper. Read it once, then burn it while saying, "I release what does not serve power." Finish with 100 push-ups or a freezing shower. Justification: bottled emotion calcifies into weakness. Controlled release prevents leaks at the worst moment. The physical pain at the end rewires the brain to associate letting go with dominance. Not lost. Do these 7 for 90 days straight, and something dies inside you. The part that was keeping you small, broke, and alone. What rises is the man women dream about, and other men step aside for. There is no middle path. You either install the disciplines, or you stay prey. The choice is yours, but the clock is already running. You came here wondering why the men at the very top seem carved from ice. Now, you know. You saw the myth that feelings make you strong. Shattered. You watched empires collapse the moment one heartbeat overruled strategy. You learned Machiavelli's forbidden law. Love is a debt. Fear is equity. You met the living kings who rule because they feel nothing that isn't on a leash. You stared into the trap that swallowed Samson, Caesar, Tyson, and every guy who ever sent that weak text. And finally, you received the 7 disciplines that turn a man from emotional slave to cold emperor. Most men will close this video, feel the pull, and do nothing. They'll tell themselves, I'm not that extreme, or I'll start tomorrow. They will die average, wondering why power and desire always belong to someone else. All because they were too terrified to stop feeling. You don't have to be one of them. Here is your initiation. The 30-day cold power challenge. Starting tonight. Install every single one of the 7 disciplines. No excuses. No half measures. 30 days of deliberate frost. On day 31, you will look in the mirror and not recognize the man staring back, because the old one will be dead. Do it. And the world will bend in ways you can't yet imagine. Refuse, and stay exactly where you are. Forever. Machiavelli closed The Prince with a line that still burns 5 centuries later. Men hesitate to seize opportunity because they fear the difficulty. But fortune is a woman. And if you wish to master her, you must strike and beat her. Strike. Become cold. Rule. Welcome to the 0.1%.